exclusive reaction to this final night of the RNC, and the president's big speech is his son, Donald Trump Jr. Don, your father laid out a clear vision for this country, which is we're moving forward. We've gotten past a lot of the most difficult parts of COVID with the tragedy that it is. And he laid out a vision of optimism and hope, which I just get the sense people are craving in America.
I really do too, Laura. I mean, I felt proud to be an American watching this. And honestly, watching the last 4 days of the RNC, you know, when you compare and contrast that to what was last week, which was this like never-ending, I hate America Zoom call. I mean, these stories, you know, that could only happen in America. The American dream happening over and over to so many people of such diverse backgrounds. It's just been an amazing week, and tonight topped it off like nothing else could.
How about you personally? I mean, is it an emotional moment for you? It's been a long, in many ways, it was an amazing 4 years for your family,
yeah,
but a very difficult time personally for your family as well, through all the ups and downs and investigations. Personally, how are you feeling?
Listen, I feel great because it's all worth it as an American, right? It wasn't easy at times. You know that. You know, we've seen sort of what the worst of government can try to do. I mean, when you think about the beginning of this 4 years, it was the first time we had a not peaceful transition of power. I mean, that is one of the great American traditions, something that went on for 240 plus years until now, until Donald Trump. And what's amazing about it, though, and what's really amazing about my father, to me, is that despite all that adversity, I mean, trying to throw his family in jail, unmasking his children, a Russia hoax that, I mean, they're still talking about today as though it's real, you know, impeachment, he still delivered for the American people. He still put his head down, pushed through everything and got it done and delivered for the American people. That's an anomaly. That doesn't happen. That's once in a generation at best for an American politician to fight through that kind of adversity and still deliver and still get it done. And that's what Donald Trump's all about.
Today, Joe Biden finally came out and condemned the violence, as did Kamala Harris. They both appeared after last week, having not said anything. And they say this is Donald Trump's America in the cities we're seeing the worst violence, and laying the blame at your father's feet.
Well, it's been going on for months, and not one person, Laura, mentioned the violence, the rioting, the looting that's been going on around our country in Democrat cities, in Democrat states, led by mayor Democrats, led by city councils that are all Democrat. Not one person mentioned it in 1 week at the DNC. But now, when CNN says, we know this is really kind of affecting the poll numbers now, it's getting a little ridiculous, now Joe Biden decides to step up. It's like the rest of Joe Biden's policies, right? Now, after half a century in the swamp, after half a century, now he's going to deliver for the American people. Why would you wait 50 years? Why wouldn't you do it now? If Joe Biden could deliver for the American people, you'd think we'd have seen some of it by now. It's nonsense. It's smoke and mirrors. They do what the polling tells them. They do what CNN tells us, and then they'll do whatever the radical left tells us if they ever get office. But I don't think we're going to let that happen.
Right now, I'm being told that there are, I'm not going to call them protesters because most of them are criminals, threatening to burn once again St. John's Church down if they don't get what they want. They've gathered around the White House during the president's remarks, trying to drown him out. It didn't work. But it looks like we have another situation developing. It's being described as a riot in some circles tonight already. Your reaction to what that represents versus what we saw tonight?
Well, you know, I think it's disgusting, right? When they're doing that, trying to burn down churches, burn down government buildings, rip down monuments to Lincoln and our founders. It's just mind-boggling. You know, again, it shows the American people what we are truly up against when you have a mainstream media that for weeks were pretending that this was peaceful protesting, right? You saw it the other day on CNN. Well, it's fiery but mostly peaceful protest while there's buildings burning in the background and people being killed in the streets. This isn't Donald Trump. This has been Democrat policies where Democrat people have allowed this to happen. They've sat by, they haven't condemned it, they've sat by and watched it happen in their streets as if there's tacit acceptance, because the Democrat Party is far more likely to stand with a criminal than they are with law-abiding citizens who just want to live their American dream.
Let me just say, Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C., could have stopped a lot of this tonight.
Of course they could.
I mean, this was a...
Of course they would.
This was, in the eyes of, I think, a lot of the people here tonight, this was an attempt to really stifle and put a damper on this event tonight. Could you hear it up where you were on the stage?
Not really. You can hear a little bit because they're going
bit
with air horns and stuff, trying to be disruptive. But that's the difference between the left and the right. They want to actually silence our freedom of speech.
They don't want him to camp, Don. They do not want him to go to America. They
Correct.
don't, especially swing states, blue state governors, but where there's a mix of people, they don't want him to campaign. So what will your father do? Will he be stopped from reaching out and being with the people of this country in the next couple of months?
No, I think he's going to do that anyway. I mean, that's his happy place. Joe Biden's happy place is his basement with a teleprompter. Donald Trump wants to be with the people. He wants to be with the crowds. He wants to speak directly to them because honestly, he's probably the first president in modern history that actually spoke to them during a campaign and then followed up and delivered for them.
Will he go to Wisconsin? Of course, the site of another police-involved shooting that supposedly triggered a lot of the violence in Wisconsin. Will he go there?
Yeah, I imagine he'll be there amongst other places. I know, the vice president will be in Michigan tomorrow. I know our family will be all over the country, traveling for the next 68 days, making sure that Americans get a chance to see our message. Obviously, they're doing whatever they can to prevent us from speaking directly to the people, from being directly with the people, because again, the Democrats are the party of anarchy right now. We want our kids to be able to go to work, church, and school, but they don't want that. They want anarchy, looting, and rioting.
But they can do this.
They can do this. This is totally acceptable.
Don, Hillary Clinton said Biden should not accept defeat. If he loses, do not accept defeat. After they accused your father of someone who wouldn't accept defeat himself. Your answer to Hillary Clinton tonight?
Well, I imagine that's their plan, and Hillary Clinton hasn't accepted defeat from 2016. She's been doing this nonsense. I mean, it's mind-boggling what she can continue to perpetrate on the American people. She's been running around pretending as though she won for the last few years. Then she talks about the popular vote. Well, if we were running for the popular vote, if that was how to play the game, we would have campaigned differently. That's not what it was, and she hasn't accepted that. Like many politicians on the left don't accept their elections, because I believe Stacey Abrams, the governor of Georgia, in her mind only, also hasn't conceded that election, Laura.
How will your dad bring calm to the country if he's reelected? How does this begin to subside?
Listen, I think calm just starts with peace of mind. We got to bring back jobs. We got to do the things for manufacturing that he started doing already, but that only he can do. Joe Biden's talking about bringing jobs to America after 50 years of shipping them abroad. Like, why the change now, Joe? Why are we to believe, is anyone stupid enough, frankly, to believe that this guy can do this now? This guy can't remember where he is 50% of the time, Laura. I mean, it's sad if it wasn't so scary. This is the future for our children. I want the guy that actually came in with no DC experience, who wasn't a part of the swamp, that saw something that was failed and decided to come in and fix it. That's what Donald Trump did for America, and that's why we need 4 more years of Donald Trump.
Don Trump, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Thanks a lot, Laura. Great to be with you.
Thanks for being here tonight.